Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. I thought we'd talk today about an expression that you might hear in the internal arts, internal martial arts, and that expression is big circle, small circle, no circle. And what does that mean? I take it to mean that in the internal arts we often work circular motions. Even if a strike or a movement towards our potential opponent is a straight line, there's a circle behind that. There's something going on in the waist or in the upper body or in the shoulder, or there's a spiral in there. There's just a lot of circles involved in moving in the internal arts. And there's usually a main circle to a given movement, and that circle starts off big and then gets smaller and smaller and more concise. The big circles are really helpful for those of us who don't have a lot of talent or a lot of experience with physical type things. We're coming into Tai Chi maybe a little bit later in life, I started when I was 27, but I had very little athletic experience and very little really natural talent at this. I had to work really hard, and the big circles were really helpful to me because it just makes it visible. I would see people do stuff that was effective and it just looked like magic. I couldn't see what the heck they were doing. So in our style, for instance, we have a form called Section 9, which is a fast kind of energy issuing set, and Master Chung, my teacher, Andy Dale's Yang style teacher, he was really influenced by Xingyi and Bagua, and so there's some Xingyi movements in this form and in this section, in this form, and so there's a movement called splitting or Pichuan, which is done in many different ways in different styles. But when I first learned it and the way I first practiced it, it was along the lines of this. And you can see that that's a big circle. The movement is called splitting. And it's as though you had an axe in your hand and you were chopping like that. And the circle's really big and you can see it very clearly. Boom, I'll do the other side. So you draw back, you drive forward, drilling up with this, and then boom. Drive forward, big circle, boom, like that. The problem with it, even though it's nice and big and you can flow with it, you could even do it with a lot of energy, is that it's really, its size is its problem. Not only does your potential opponent really see it coming, but you're drawing your weapon away from your opponent. And if they see that coming, they can just follow that in and jam you, and you're stuck. So while it's a nice introduction to the principle, it's not a final resting place, in my opinion. The nice thing about it, though, is it really gets you to feel this downward quality. You're going forward and back with your body motion, but it really helps to train that downward quality to the motion. That was really hard for me. I was really, kind of throwing it forward, and for years I struggled with how to get this downward quality. I know it seems simple, but as I said, I wasn't very talented. So I worked on it, and now gradually, as I got more and more of the sense of this downward quality, the movement started to naturally get a little bit smaller, so that from here, I started focusing less on the downward and more on the forward. So it became more like this, not this, but that circle got a little smaller here. It's still coming back too far for my taste, but at least it was getting smaller, and in addition to this downward quality, I started to feel the forward quality of it. And then it got a little smaller still, so that the forward quality took over more of a priority, and the downward was simply an energy or a quality within the movement. So then it started to look more like this. So now the coil is here, boom, like that, instead of the coil being here, boom, like that, or even here, boom, like that, or even here, boom, like that. It's more just here, boom. The coil is very small. and then eventually it can be just boom, like that. It can be really, really small. I'm less versed at that really tiny, so I haven't gotten to where it's no circle. I haven't gotten to where the circle's this big. I'm at the small circle. I started off big, now I'm a little smaller. So to recap, instead of this, I'm going to walk forward a little bit as I do this. Instead of a big movement like that, gets a little smaller. It's like this. You can see I'm more focused on the forward part of it. And then it'll get even smaller still. So I'm not claiming to be very good at this. I'm just illustrating this principle of big, small, smaller, and I really like the way this feels, because you can be blocking something or deflecting something and then shoot forward like that. It has that forward quality, but it also has that downward quality, because it's not jumping up off the ground, it's going back into the ground. So that can apply to all kinds of movements. Brush, knee, and push. You know, it can start off really big. Problem? You're telegraphing this, obviously. It's very clear that that's what's coming. So you make it a little bit smaller. And then smaller. So it ends up just from here to there. It's not so much a big thing like that. Parting horses make from a great big motion like that to here, here. It can become just that. So the form can start off big and gradually get smaller. When I'm practicing, I mostly stay with medium frame because I just need the training. I don't want to get too much into old man style where I'm hardly moving. Not yet anyway, maybe in 30 years. But in practice, in application, especially with another person, you want these circles to get smaller and smaller because they're harder to read, and also you're closer to the hub, and so they might even be more powerful. So see if you can maybe play with that in your movements. Just pick a movement that you know really well and see if you can take it and shrink it a little bit. Make it a little bit smaller and keep the essential connections and mechanics and principles there, but just make the movement a little bit smaller, a little more concise. Take out what isn't necessary and focus on the core essential movement. You can still get value out of, and I still get value out of the big circle. I like the big circles. I like practicing with big circles sometimes. But generally I move towards smaller, and I move towards more medium-sized circles and smaller-sized circles, because it just seems to me to be more to the heart of the matter of developing unforced balance and Tai Chi in my body and my life. So I thank you for watching. Appreciate it. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Visit my website, Burnett.com. I do a lot of music, nature, and Tai Chi type related stuff, and the occasional stab of humor. And I wish you well, and practice, and thanks for watching.